Testing. You guys hear me okay?
Oh, I'm glad you said something. I wanted to make sure the volume was okay. Yep.
Hello, all. Still a little bit early, but feel free if anyone wants to check their mic. Feel free to say something. Some people like to say testicles, 1, 2. Some people like to say testing, you know, testes. Some people like that. So anyway, already started off on the bad foot here. Sorry about that.
I'll just say check.
There you go, check.
Yeah, checkmate, stale, stalemate, 1, 2, stale. Anyway.
The check is in the mail.
Let's see. Got a whole bunch. I thought I'd had the wrong time.
Great to see the peacocks here.
Yeah, agreed. That's a great treat. Both of you guys.
Yeah.
Hi,
I've really
guys.
been enjoying your tale about the police. I was listening to it last night. It was amazing. I love you for that.
Yeah, I heard about that. It was amazing. Good for you.
Good start of the year, right? Here we go.
Yeah. We love you. We love you, even if everyone else thinks you're a bit of a twat.
Reciprocated. Thanks, guys. And I need that, 'cause the gaslighting that followed that with all of the, you know, the stuff that's going on. I keep calling it gaslighting, but you know what I mean. It's to hear that kind of, yeah, reinforces and validates and confirms that I'm not crazy. So Rosa, I've heard, I know, I'm going through the same thing. Everyone's literally just like treating me like the town's leper right now. So you're not.
Yeah, but you know, it's like, it's kind of great to just, I don't know, you know that your soul's purpose is that strong that this is worth it.
Yeah, man, that's the hill. That's the morals.
Yeah.
And also, who
So,
needs friends like that, right?
Yeah, this is the thing. But
So we're
good for
shedding
you.
what doesn't serve us, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. It's a new year. Yeah, incredible.
Speaking of New Year, your video was amazing. Oh my gosh, I've shared that everywhere. That was really good.
Thank you.
You're
Cheers.
welcome.
Thank you for that.
Awesome stuff.
Me too. I did
Thanks,
the same.
guys. Thank you. I'm blushing.
Well, get used to it.
Oh.
Rosa had a group chat comment. She does I sound like I'm being too much of a mum right now. Rosa goes swimming in the sea on a Sunday morning in the freezing sea, and on the group chat somebody said, oh, does anybody know if we're allowed to swim in the sea now that we're in tier 5?
Are you crazy?
I'm leaving all group chats so quickly at the moment. I'm deleting numbers left, right, and centre. I just,
Yeah.
it's getting lonely out here, but keep going. Hey,
Are we allowed to breathe? Do we need permission for that?
Exactly.
Do we need
Are you
permission?
even asking? It's like, what?
It's subservience, though, isn't it? It's really kind of the compassionate side of that makes me go, wow. You know, it reflects back to us how, you know, we are becoming self-sufficient, and that's what this is about. It's creating our own, you know, and becoming less dependent on. But that's just a real signpost of dependency, isn't it? It's just to need to permission to see if they can swim in the sea. It's just it's how deep it goes, you know. That's awesome that you do that, though. Do you do a bit of Wim Hof, or just dive?
Yeah, I've booked it, but I hate cold water. But I've heard all the great things about it, so I'm trying to toughen up to it.
Well, that's the point.
Bit of Wim
I
Hof.
think the point is to hate it. That's what makes it work, you know? The medicine
Yeah,
is the fact that you hate cold water so much. That's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah, it's incredibly addictive, and it just gives you this like rush. I got quite addicted to it for a while, but it's absolutely freezing at the moment, so I've not been for a bit, but I highly recommend it.
I've been to Bournemouth. That you've got a beautiful beach there, and that pier and all of that. So, yeah, I can see why you want to be there.
Cold, though.
I think that's a great way to face the morning. I remember as as a youngster, as a swimmer, I'd have to go through that,
Yeah.
3 times a week early in the morning. I'd be training, and you never get quite used to it. So it's great, it's like it's every time, oh, I don't want to jump in there. And then you're just like, and then you just do it, it's great.
Yeah. You never regret it. It's really good.
Vitriol, like that,
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. As soon as I put that seed in my head, it's like, nah, what's for vitriol now? I can't concede. Now I've thought, should I have a cold shower today? Now, the fact that you even asked that question, I'm having a cold shower because I've set that challenge up, But to come out of that, you feel better and bigger, don't you? So
Exactly.
And the witness makes it that much more powerful. It's interesting how we can bank on each other's witness. I think that's what reputation is. It comes down to that sheen, that electrical sheen that you feel as part of that. It is 12:30, and call to order. Call to this better word than order. Call to authentical location. Be exactly where you should authentically be. This meeting is started, and yeah, thanks a lot for coming. I know that this is probably so broad, the things that I've said, the ideas that you even have as a reflection of that, and it is not my purpose at all to try and corral these ideas in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to carve out something really simple just so it can be used or discarded as tree roots or bonsai. Feel free to prune my lips and the idea, and feel free to use those as offshoots for other things. I will be looking at the chat too as best I can. Before we begin, some of you maybe have never been in the dojo scenario before, and welcome to you. It's great to be here. What you're looking at is sort of how we run Dojo 2. And the way we do that is typically there's a moderator. Right now, I'm acting as the moderator, and people will raise their hand if they want to address the group. But it's not a strict rule. Sometimes there's sort of an open witness thing that kind of happens where people are basically just in flow state and responding to each other, which works too. That's why the moderator's there. They're sort of there to keep the tribe in his best control as they can. Sometimes I will hit mute all, like right now. And by doing that, it will mute everyone's microphone except for myself. Ha, ha, ha. That is the power of the host. They have the ability to do that. It is now your responsibility to unmute yourself in order to speak. And so I've done that now. So I've already given you a vitriol for step 1. You're going to have to figure out how to unmute yourself. So welcome to the meeting. You're already struggling with some steps here. This is the hermetic order you've been initiated into. Now, the Dojo Homeschool idea is the idea of potlatch, the giving for the sake of giving. Typically, potlatch is anonymous. It's typically like that 4th level or that 5th level of love, like where it's more love for humanity. And because of how bad the dissonance and the mind control it comes through the state, it's just such a beautiful time to, instead of trying to point that out to people, maybe just create like a whole new feed, just from scratch, and just start over. And building this, I want to start by saying, I personally believe that the internet is not a vehicle for good or for bad. I believe it's a soil. It is a psychic soil. And as all of us are connected in it in whatever ways we can, it's a lot like electricity. If I was to cut off the original line that comes into a switch and go to the other end of the line and put power into that end, the exact circuitry still works. And this is part of what happens when they set up something like the internet. They're actually giving you soil to enrich the environment, to season the predator, so to speak. And it's a whole other way of looking at this energy. And I really hope that this idea can lead to something really, really cool. When I say cool, I would like for us to turn off the concept that Babylon is here to entertain us, educate us, inform us, or even help us for that matter. And I think that Babylon does have the tools, though, the network that's already there that was necessary for it, that we can use to inject a different kind of thing. If you see my live stream, it's very much like that. I don't know if you would call it optimistic as much as I just try and call it like compassionarian, not consentarian, but a compassionarian kind of a outlook. I'm under the impression that this sort of kind of outlook is not okay. I'm not in the impression it has an audience for it, and I believe that I would be just one of many storytellers. I've seen that in dojo. With our dojo meetings, I know for a fact that I'm just one of many, and I would love to see us grow. And I would love to spend this year, instead of pointing out how bad it is, focus on what we can do in this Aquarian age. It's the perfect time. It's the perfect time. I think they're squeezing this out of me, honestly. I believe that this Dojo Earth is literally squeezing this out of me through vitriol. I think it's the only way it would motivate me. And I think a lot of you feel the same way. I'd also like for this project to be considered work, to be considered a weight that you would have to use to work out on. It's a chance in front of all these witnesses to exercise and to utilize the power of witness and the power of commitment from others to better yourself and to even fail. I'd love to see some of you fail, fall face first on the mat, and have that something come up in dojo, something that's even used for your own vitriol. So what I'm trying to say is that this isn't the idea where we're going to prepare something when no one's looking and then we're going to bring it out and showcase it. I think that we will find this Aquarian model is the living spine of itself. It's showcasing how it works is the fact of making it work. What I'm getting at is a very decentralized form of education, but a decentralized form of exploratory wisdom. And most of this I've noticed since the research over only in the last 2 days is basically the Waldorf Academy is kind of like right up exactly explaining this, where the teacher themselves are the ones that's really in charge of the curriculum. And I'd like to change that into really the story. Everything that is thrown at us is thrown at us in a story. Something as colossal as Christopher Columbus and a globe, something as asinine and salacious as golf balls being driven from a golf cart on the moon. These ideas, these lies, diamonds from Neptune, Uranus smelling like farts, these ideas are salacious because that's how it works. And I think that part of what we can bring back to this is the enrichment of the soil speaking out through the salaciousness of our humanity. This is storytelling. This is mythology. This is animism. This is personification of wisdom. And that's a very powerful thing. And I'd like to see how far that goes. And I think this is a good exercise for that. So to stop being all philosophical, to create a secretion, to pump this piston, to blow air into this fire. Last year, we did all these new moon fires. And I'd like to suggest that we change them for the age of Aquarius into full moon fires and focus more, give more witness to that. And the full moon would be the waxing, the flourishing, the blossoming, the pollination of what we committed to bring as potlatch. So if you could think of every new moon, each of us maybe would consider committing to personifying some wisdom in the form of a story, in the form of a diagram, of a drawing, of a painting, of a live stream, of whatever it is that comes out that's aimed at something that you would never expect to find or learn in school. And just with this simple framework, each of us can commit in front of each other, what can I do this time? Here's the new moon. I think maybe I could try this. And there you go. Now you're off on your way. and that maybe this would be a way for other homeschoolers, other families to develop their own curriculum by creating the very presentations that they would come here in hopes to see. So to discover their own piece of American history and bring that to the American History tent, to discover their own piece of home cooking, to discover their own piece of geology, of any kind of natural experiential learning, I think is going to go just gangbusters right now. And I'd love to see an open network that supports the creation of this kind of thing, even so far as to envision where there's a schedule where every Monday at 10 a.m., because of the committee, because of this tribe, this inner working circle that has decided we would love to see something happen at 10 a.m. every Monday on this subject, that could be a living, breathing organism that is creating and at the same time participating in this idea of homeschool, where instead of send your kid to work day, it's bring your dad home day. Like bring him what he does home, make what he creates every day into the content, into the learning itself. It's a different kind of focus. It's percolated instead of raining down. And so I realize this is kind of broad, but I'm under the impression that all this would take is a few of us to volunteer as like, for example, I would love to do something on American history, maybe something like Amu Raka or something, and just do a brief kind of overview of what I think truly happened in America. And that's just it. This would be my story to you. This would be me telling you from what I've gathered, what I think happened. And truly, that's what learning should be about. It shouldn't be dictated or regurgitated. It should be created. It should be told. And that's how it sticks. So that's kind of the broad spectacle of all this. I'd love to see where we have these virtual meetings that are happening, and at the same time, there's something to ground us all to the earth. I love the idea of a fire. I love the idea that every full moon, each of us would gather and choose to participate or not participate, whatever works out, in some sort of waxing into the full moon fire. And direct that prana into the land, direct that into the potlatch that you brought, even if that potlatch is nothing more than committing to having a fire that night and taking your camera, and while that fire's on, coming into the tent, and while someone's telling a story of American history or whatever else, that they're seeing your fire, that you prepared that fire and you brought it as potlatch. So it's like a really, really broad, diverse calling. This cornucopia, all kinds of crazy things could fall out. And I don't want to be the one that's directing the spigot at all. I just really appreciate you coming and even just hearing this idea. I don't want anyone to feel like you have to volunteer right now. In fact, I don't even know if that would even be wise. I think it might even be great just to percolate on it and really think about it. And if you consider the idea that on the new moon, that might be a good time to actually do make a commitment to say, I'm going to bring this in during this waxing. And I wouldn't, please don't, let's not have a competition where we're trying to rip the shirts off our own back to give them into the fire, to who's going to pull the bacon of skin. And it's start small, make it fun, make it artistic, but make it constructive too. And I think that over time, as each of these callings happen, there'll be a natural, a beautiful competition, I think, that happens where we'll try and do better each time. And more importantly, I think people will come back to this network, to this channel, and want to see, well, wait a minute, you talked about the moon phases last time. What are you going to talk about this time? But like you start to create that cycle. And oh man, when we are cycling off the moon, we don't even need the network anymore. We really do create that decentralized anthroposoph. you start to analyze that decentralized model, because it's all different fires, right? It's all these different embers that are doing their own thing. So
Hey, I've read that word and I still can't pronounce it right. Consistently. I hate that word.
What do you mean, Pi? It's easy.
Sorry.
It's anthroposophistic. Yeah, it's
Yes.
anthroposophistic. So yeah. So I'd like to call kind of open witness right now. And if people actually want to raise their hand, that'd be great. If anyone's too shy or nervous and you just want to speak out, that's fine. But I'd love to get your feedback. Okay, since we have hands going up, let's do that. Let's make it that way. In fact, I wonder, Lorna, would it be pushing? Could I ask you to mod at this point? I think it would be a better format. All right. Well,
yeah, I think that's
Lorna,
a great idea. Yeah, make me mod. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, got a lot of hands up. I've got the new, downloaded the new upgrade, so the hands are bigger. Wow. Some new improved stuff going on here. Cool. Upon Josh. Josh, mute yourself.
Great. This is such a great idea, concept. You know, from my vantage point, I've got 2 young kids. My daughter's 4, my son will be 2 here in a little bit over a month. And I love this idea of, and they're in daycare and they'll be in daycare. But I love this idea of having a space where at least having a regular cadence where there's going to be some content that we can start to draw from, that I can either share live in real time with my daughter and say, hey, listen, this is going to be story time right now. There's a full moon out. You know, we're going to go 30 minutes or whatever it might be. And then, you know, like I said, not trying to, you know, take my shirt off my back or whatnot, but I also think it's a good way that each of us can have some ownership in it as well, because isn't that what we all want, is to have kind of a say-so and a guidance to what our children are learning too. So, you know, like I put together a little poem that I've talked to James and others about. You know, I'd love to share that, even if it's a, you know, 10-minute thing. And maybe I just talk a little bit about the meaning behind the poem and how that relates to the world out there. You know, so little things like that. And I'm sure others would be much better at doing presentations and stuff like that than maybe I would. But yeah, I just wanted to raise my hand to say, like, I love this idea. And I also agreed that the concept of starting small, right, where maybe the first go around, you know, James is the only one presenting that, right? Ready information, we could do 2 presentations, whatever it might be. But then from there, maybe there's a little bit of a, you know, accelerated cadence where there might be 2 or 3 presentations that happen on the day of a new moon or a full moon, for example. So yeah, just raising my hand basically to say, like, I love this concept. And I think, you know, you have my support in my witness, and then also whatever I can bring to the table. And it probably won't be every full moon, but the little bits and pieces that I have to offer, you know, would love to be a part of this.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Adam, unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, my love. And it's lovely to see some familiar faces as well as some lovely new faces. And yeah, James, like I put in the chat, I generally believe this is the morning star catalyst to bring a new dawn of life, a new way of life, an Aquarian age. And this is what a lot of us are doing in Dojo, a lot of us doing in real life with everything going on now with the Babylon and our relationship with Babylon. And we want to have a say, and we want to, you know, none of it's ours, so we want to create our own. So this goes hand in hand with our new way of thinking. A lot of us are thinking about being sovereign, and a lot of us are thinking about buying land. And this would be a fantastic model to start off, you know, weaning people out of Babylon, but also people who are ready just to leave, people who are ready to implement this to as a catalyst to as a chain reaction of globally, because we are all connected. So man, yeah, absolutely. My personal experience is I'm a performer. I work with children. I teach drama. I'm a drama therapist in a sense, and obviously storytelling is what is in our nature. It's what we do, and that is what the arts is. That is what really, like you say, the most amazing kind of moments we've learned anything worthwhile is through the telling of it, the stories. So I can offer, obviously, with children, working with children, with drama, I think it should be mandatory to have some sort of expression, and drama offers that. It gives you freedom of expression, social skills, empathy. You can escapism, just fun, and it's suppressed a lot in Babylon. So to offer that space separately for children and families in themselves to express themselves, I could offer that. But also with the storytelling in itself, if the vehicle is storytelling, I can act as a mechanic there and help us guys utilize our story and our performing skills and our engagement skills with us as well. So, and I don't think, in Babylon there's a teacher and a student separation. I don't think what you're saying, Josh, is I think I put in the chat that you can learn with your children. This can be there's no separation there. We're all in this, so we can all learn from each other. And as we know how beautifully intelligent children are, we can learn so much from them as well when we allow them to give them the respect and the space, like we can do to give us what they want to tell us and their gnosis, because we're unlearning a lot and we've picked up a lot of rubbish, and they've picked up less than us, so we can learn a lot from them and reflect. I think this is just beautiful. So that's what I can offer in terms of potlatch. I've had experience, working with children and having kind of one-to-one sessions with kids in regards to mental health, and I think it's just a perfect vehicle for healing and the new age. So that's all I'll say for now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. This is all great stuff. Pi, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I'd just like to add my support for this idea, even though I have no experience not having raised any children. I'm just looking at it from my own child viewpoint, that I was involved in a kind of an experimental school program in my junior high years that was kind of inspired by a Waldorf school thing, and that the Mayo Clinic doctors put this money into the school, and it was just electives basically, and you could take architecture. There were some, oddly, we talked about boat building, like you could learn how to build your own sailboat. It was great. And I don't remember the teachers. I don't remember anybody talking to me. I remember all the great things we did. They just let it open. It was just electives, and you could just pick, of course it was in the framework of, but they weren't trying to get you to regurgitate. They were really, the whole purpose of it was to just give you some tools, leave it open, and to see what you would come up with. And it worked great. I moved away, and I didn't get to experience only but a couple of years of that. But I myself in 7th grade designed a earthworm house that was built 3 different times by people in Minnesota. Nobody showed me how to do that. It was my own idea based on my dad complaining about the heating bill, really, and thinking about ways to, we lived in an old house, and I'm like, well, you could build a house like this, but I really believe in that idea, and there does seem like a real fertile soil right now, at the internet, and just in general, just all around. I feel like it's a great time to embark on, and I've seen it work myself, with myself. So from that point of view, I really do, whatever I can contribute, percolating and whatnot. But I thought I would add that perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pi. I know you have so much to offer, even though I know you haven't had any children. All of us have so much to offer. Mike, unmute yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say I think the potential for where it could go is going to be huge. I think I just wondered, like, so technically, is it just for children or is it adults? You know, is it are there different levels of it, or are we just putting stuff out there? Will it be like, if you can't make like campfire stuff, and obviously there's a big time difference between some of us and you guys and stuff like that, so could you like make a short video and then upload it into the wherever we're going to put all this, so it's available? You know, you could like upload it on the night or whatever, even if you had to record it before, that kind of stuff, like sort of technical things of how we do it and how you get it out there. If it's not just like a live stream, people might be, you know, a bit embarrassed to do it on a live stream, but they could take the time over a video, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Just questions like that, really.
Let me just take a moment to address those. First of all, it's definitely not just for kids. And in fact, to kind of tie back with what Pi was just saying, I think that Babylon's given us a really beautiful gift, because it puts so much shit in everyone's head that the adults will gain just as much from unlearning as the children will from learning. So the two of them in tandem working together on what happened in World War I, both of them have heavy lifting to do, because one has to unlearn all of this crap and the other has to experience it for the first time. And so it's so fractally beautiful how this homeschool model or unschool model or whatever this is not about teaching the child. It's not, is it? It's about awakening the gnosis within the family itself and making the family the nucleus of that dilation, right? It's about dilating each other in that way. Because, you know, telling my dad that we didn't land on the moon is a hilarious event that occurred in my home. And it's part of what makes us a family, is that we've had that interaction. And we can make this beautiful. This doesn't have to be a painful thing. Do you see what I'm saying? If Babylon preloaded each adult with a need to unlearn with a childlike perspective. So it's kind of already written in that way. Real quick, the format. If you've been to Dojo, you know how it works. In fact, you're seeing it work now. Lorna is our mod right now, and she's calling on people. And I'd like for you to think of your presentation is you've raised your hand and someone's calling on you, which means when you give your presentation, you're coming into a Zoom meeting just like this, and you are given the floor. And with having that floor, the moderator is there and they're helping field questions, assuming you're taking questions. Your presentation may not take questions. Your presentation may be a round table of 6 people. So anything is possible here, but each presentation is going to need this moderator. They're sort of there to introduce the group and to provide that circle, okay? That moderator is also a fire tender. Now, those could be 2 different roles. You could have a fire tender and a moderator, but having that fire tender really does link this all to a central flame, a central fire. The ashes from each of these moon waxing fires will be charged with the ashes from before. So there's a lot of symbolism here. Each of these presentations that are stored, and that's the moderators helping, the fire tenders helping make sure we're recording it. Right now, this meeting is being recorded. Some people want to be here, but they couldn't. So that's what we're doing. This recording would go up in this Akashic library. That library is not a YouTube library. It's not a DLive library. It's its own source of information. So each of us are going to be responsible or not responsible, depending on how many calories we want to spend on it, outputting this Akashic record to everyone else. So it doesn't really belong to anybody. The only thing that ties it together is that it has this flame, it has this format to it, so to speak. That format could be as simple as a candle being lit. It could be as simple as just a moderator. But having that witness there is the promise that we're making. If someone's going to bring the potlatch, it's not going to be wasted. And in order to ensure that no one's going to be wasted, we're going to provide at least 2 witnesses for that presentation. And I'm hoping that that will be enough of the embers to cause these sparks to grow. And I hope that the vitriol, this is what's beautiful about it, is I hope that the vitriol that people feel making these presentations will help them grow. I hope that some are just really upset because of how terrible it went, or because they felt this way, or because they messed up this way, or because of their video problems. Having this environment where we're learning and working and experiencing vitriol together is what makes us a tribe. It's called trauma bonding, and it's beautiful. We can use that trauma bond to form a network. And I think that will be something that you will find people really want and need right now, because we have to learn how to save this electricity. And this kind of talk, this kind of gathering really helps it that way. I'm going to stop now. I'm sorry, there's a lot there, but I thank you, Mike, for that question.
Yes, thank you, Mike. I'm sure that we're going to have we're still working on the background end of it. And we've had many discussions about that. Here, Anna, unmute yourself.
All right. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with everybody. And I just want to say that this is such a good opportunity, like James was saying, for me and my son or families to come together on like the same energetic level. All these ideas and thoughts and different ways of learning and things I have tried to introduce to my son, but I think that this community way of doing it is going to be very magical for the kids to be able to come together and kind of like investigate it together, just being a group thing. So I'm really, really excited for that. Just inviting him out to the fire with me, because I normally just do them by myself. But getting him out there with me is going to be the best part. And I have things to offer, of course, but I don't have any, I don't have any experience teaching kids or working with kids. I just started homeschooling. November 25th was our first day. I signed the letter of intent, but I have experience to share, so I'm just excited to share and help and experience with this whole thing. And I really feel like it's just the best thing to happen to any type of thing that you want to label as school since ever. So I just wanted to share that and say hello, and I'm excited to just see how everything goes.
Oh, Anna, thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking up and showing up here. I'm very, very excited. And I think we all have something to share. So I think, yeah, even though you don't have any experience teaching, I don't think that's really necessary. I think you do have experiences to share for sure.
Right. We all have experiences of life, and we all have stories to share. And just taking somebody else's perspective and looking at it, in a different way, I think it's just going to be absolutely magical.
I also think that there's a primal need right now for people that have done just what you've done. They're brand new. They've come through the threshold where they're taking the responsibility of schooling back, and that right there, you already have more experience than most because you've already started that process. You're already on that way. So even that is gold. That is potlatch right there, bringing that experience and talking about it. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
To add to that, James, sorry, just to add to that, here in the UK, there's a lot of that. As everyone in the UK on here can testify, we've just gone into lockdown, schools and everything, and I'm just seeing parents, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to teach their kids. They don't know what's going on. They've got curriculum they don't understand. It's a huge problem at the minute. So yeah, just to add to that, this is perfect.
Yeah, it can be a very liberating experience, or it can be a very daunting and scary experience, I guess, whichever way you want to kind of dive into it.
So this is like the perfect example of a dojo centric topic, guys, where like Native American American history, I'm sorry, like real American history would be like something maybe I would be playing with, but new to homeschool, right? This ramp program for homeschool would be its own dojo. That would be its own weekly gathering, or however frequently it needs to be, where people are meeting to discuss how this works, what's possible, what's not possible. This is exactly what this network would really help to do. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Seamus, unmute yourself, please.
Hey, this
Hey.
is freaking awesome. I've been trying to build my own curriculum for the past year. But more than that, I just wanted to say while we're just getting started, in case people are wondering what's possible, what I do is self-hosting. So all of the work I do is self-hosted and custom software development. So if you want, yes, I'm bringing some potlatch, but if you want server space, if you want places to put videos, audio podcasting, but there's another thing I've done that I thought I'd just mention now. And if you'd like me to walk you through on the screen for 5 minutes, I could also do that. But I've built a bunch of learning platforms in the past for everything from Safari guides to, like wealth management and things like that. Some of them have been text-based. So if you have text-based lessons, yes, you can have a place to upload them. The text-based lessons can also have tests with multiple choice answers and pair matching, drag and drop to match the pairs and all that kind of jazz. And there's also video-based lessons, which can be broken up into chapters that you can jump through, and it can remember where you last watched up to and so on. So I just want to throw that out there in case anyone's wondering, like what's possible, what formats are possible for lessons. The text-based ones won't be for every lesson. The video-based ones might not be for every lesson, but I just wanted to let you know that I've got terabytes of bandwidth a month that are going unused. I've got dedicated servers, and I'm willing to take that on until when it gets too painful, I'll let you know. But I think that'll be a while.
That's potlatch as fuck. Way to go. I stole that from Adam. He typed that in the chat. So Seamus, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it up because what I think would be the ultimate kick-ass thing that we could do, I'm talking about that would unite us together, is instead of focusing on trying to get YouTube or Facebook or Twitter to showcase our stuff, is to move and change to a video game platform. That if we were to create what looked like a video game, we would have access to every mobile phone, every laptop, every server, and it would be like a World of Warcraft type environment where we wouldn't have to worry about censorship because the game itself isn't actually branded as vaccines aren't real or the government's trying to, this is branded as, vitriol. And what is vitriol? It's a game of chat war. It's a chat warfare game. And when you enter this game, you're entering this network, which is Flojo. So anytime you log on, you're now in a Flojo. And you can go to a different geographical area and you will find, oh, here's the new to homeschool group. They're having a fire tonight at 6 p.m. and it's about to start, that kind of thing. So that environment requires a server that that's running in the background, that's listening to and running those sockets and bypassing the need for any of these social media companies to block us. And I think that we could hide in plain sight. I don't even mean hide. I literally mean that we could just, it would be in plain sight. It would be right there, but we would still be on every platform because it's what we say is truly what our content is. It's our humanity that we're bringing to it. So I would love to work with you on this. This is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that the back end of it is, we had a lot of questions about that, about how we're going to actually do that. And Seamus, it would be great if we just could have a private meeting. Hey, James, we could kind of talk about the ideas on a deeper level of the bigger picture of where we want to go, and then dumb it down so we can know the steps how to get there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's awesome.
So
Seamus.
yeah, just like Dojo works now, if you, those of you who are new, if you miss a Dojo meeting, there's a website. Basically, by logging on, you would see either what meetings are coming, but also what meetings have already occurred. That same framework would be there. However, what Seamus is talking about is actually us hosting those videos ourselves, so they're not going to be shut down. It's just a better way of having our own network, I think we're going to find this is even going to be more necessary, honestly, as this year rolls along. So in a way, I think we're kind of ahead of the curve, even thinking this way. But yeah, that would be a very specific meeting that's more for the techies that are into that kind of thing. You guys don't know this. I've been in tech for 15 years. That's why I'm saying all these things. But this is kind of right up my alley. So it would make sense that this would be something that we want to tackle pretty early on, I think, because then we'd have this system already in place for each of us to use. None of these videos would belong to any of us. This is a potlatch kind of a thing. So it's more about, if you think of like peer-to-peer hosting, it's more like that kind of thing, where each of these videos, really, if anything, they belong to the person that created them. But they've given them as potlatch to this library is what's happening. They're logging that into the Akashic library, and we have the network that's going to allow us to display that. So if you can imagine in this video game, not that you have to use a video game, I'm just talking about the platform, but you could go to the Pale Horse tent, and you know that tonight at 7 p.m. James is doing a presentation about Fanny Kelly, who was, trapped by the Sioux for 6 months. But you could also wind back in time to last night and hear Pi's presentation that he gave about something else, or that afternoon. So each of us would have the Akashic record would be there, and you could kind of go back and figure, watch things that you might have missed, and also learn new stuff, and hopefully bring your own potlatch next time. So.
That's awesome. Do we have any more questions?
What you said about a bespoke, Adam, and trying to, I think by having this library, you avoid the problems of like, trying to make it too competitive, or this is right, or this is wrong, because then they're just people's stories that you can go and you choose what you want to look at and what you resonate with. And I think it solves a lot of problems that way, and to foster the idea that it can operate itself, kind of, or I forget how you put it, but like kind of where it's decentralized and kind of, I really believe in that idea. I touched upon it when I talked about my Occupy Wall Street experience, but that protest here was like, it was really a little microcosm of how those people could come together like that. I was surprised myself. I was like, wow, it's like, I really believe in humanity now. After that, I was like, wow, this is really, I wouldn't have believed that was possible, just like I wouldn't believe that this dissonance was possible at that time. But it's, it's a real.
I would hope that if this thing took off and all of us were really enjoying ourselves, that we would find that we've sort of created a kind of like the Muppet Show, like this rolling variety show that does have this underlying theme of goodness to it, but you really don't know what you're going to get. That's kind of what makes it exciting, because when we're being authentic, you're learning so much about humanity by even just watching someone even struggle through a presentation. There's so much to learn and savor from that, versus always being shown, the perfect newscaster or the perfect model for something. So I think that we'll find that it's every bit of as addicting as reality show would be, but on a more humanity kind of a level like this. I really hope that the planning meetings for this network would actually be open source meetings where people could come and listen in. And if Seamus and I are making a really, really bad mistake, that's being witnessed. It's part of the programming that the Akashic Record has. It's this living tribe that's in charge of this network that's offering the Akashic Record for download so others can copy it. That is its own show. Learning how to develop this video game would be something that I think kids would come in and go, dude, I want to make a video game. I want to help do that. And I think that, I don't think this is the same model that I've used before. That stuff takes off by its own. Throughout my life, I've had apprentices show up, I don't know, at least 5 or 6, and they show up because they want to learn something. They don't want to check. They don't want stability. They just want to learn. They want to hang out. They want to do something important. And there's a power there that doesn't require that I set them up as an employee. There's a exchange. Something can happen that's really, really, really positive. It's how I got my start in all the things that I've ever done. I apprenticed with a typesetter, apprenticed with a web designer, apprenticed with Owen Benjamin. It's all, this is how we learn from each other, is we tap into that network around us and just follow. So I would hope that other people would see even that channel, even creating something, as being a huge, huge piece of college, like right there in that offering. Even if it's a flop, even if it doesn't work out, it's the experience itself is the learning, isn't it? And that's really what's going to make us wise. You're not going to have wisdom by regurgitating. You're going to have wisdom by experiencing something, by building the earthworm farm. We made a hovercraft. We rented a self-storage place and made a hovercraft in high school. It was freaking amazing. It was like one of the best things I ever did in high school, and it had nothing to do with school. Nothing. Not one bit of it had to do with school. It was completely just dudes who wanted to do something weird. Anyway, others' hands up now, so.
Love that. Thank you. Josh.
Thanks. I just real quick, what would be like the cost of entry for something like this, or back to some of the logistical type of things? How would that work for people as far as like cost of entry for this Akashic Record?
I don't think that cost even has to come up right now, especially hearing what Seamus talked about. I'm under the impression that this whole thing could easily be potlatched. I don't know though. When I say that, I think that there's a way that if this thing was rolling the way it is, so like James True, my channel, man, I've got patrons that are just boom, they're just there, and it gives you this giant stilts, and you could do things, and those patrons aren't like, hey, where's my special watch that has the crystal diamond? They don't do it for that. They're potlatching me, and it fulfills this whole other vibration that I'm able to focus on. And I really think that the exact same model could be made in this way, that as the Akashic Record is editing and putting out our own stuff, that the exact same thing would help it. I don't mean to put her on the spot, but I think Macaroni Pictures is a perfect example of this. It's like people see what's happening, and it's not about, oh, well, I have to pay this or do that. It's just like, well, here's energy, here's current, right? Here's what that is. And we, as the network providers, as the ones that are facilitating this, is the tribe. This is what I mean by we're not here to pull our shirts off and rip our skin off. We have to find a way to nurture this fire where it's self-sustaining, where it burns itself, where it runs itself. And I think that's part of the vitriol that I'm at in my level. All the things that I've done with business or starting different ideas, writing books, starting channels, I've noticed that art, it's a subtle art of creating. I'm not at the stage where, oh, I wonder if I can create something. I'm at the stage where I wonder if I can create something where other people are able to come in and create it, and it's self-sustaining. So it's like each of us are at different levels of what we're trying to accomplish in life. And I think that this network, this module, is like the perfect fire starter for everybody. I think that if I pull this off, And everyone's like, James, this is like really great model. I think that I will have land. I think that I will have hundreds of acres fall out of the fucking sky and shine on my butt and go, James, do something with this land. I think that all it takes is for me just to wake up every morning and just go, 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 and do this. And so I don't know exactly how all this is going to work, but so far it just keeps working. I also think more people will maybe join the dojo for this. You don't have to join the dojo, but I think people will just find, I really want to bitch about today. I was trying to do this presentation and my microphone broke, and then my dog ate the mouse, or my cat ate the mouse, and the irony's killing me, and I want to talk about it tonight. So I think even that would be something that's, I'd like to think that if the dojo is really behind this, this is an opportunity for dojo participants to do something more, to bring more heat into their own life, to put themselves on the mat more and experience the vitriol of that. And I think that is sort of a way that it also pays for itself. So it's a really complex model, Josh. And I didn't answer you at all, but you get it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Melanie, unmute yourself, please.
I just wanted to say again, I just think this is just an incredible idea, and just everyone being here today, just experiencing everything that can happen and everything that you've said so far, James. My neighbors next door, they have a 5 and a 7-year-old. They actually are here in this call today. And we were talking just a couple of weeks ago about how her schedule is changing. It's really hard with trying to homeschool them. Her husband now has to travel now all of a sudden. And I'm like, look, I'm here. Let me see what we can do. And we started doing like little dances and things like that just to help them out. And then here comes synchronicity, no doubt. Here comes all of this. And it just all is coming together. I just want to thank everyone here and you for even having this conversation, because I think this is so needed right now for all of us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Melanie. I think, yeah, it's very interesting because I think this is the tone of 2021, and we're coming out of 2020, and I feel that this is the next step. And, you know, kudos to James for, you know, hearing the call and then just implementing it like that, because I think we're all kind of resonating on that same vibe of that this is what's got to happen. You know, 2021 is upon us, and I think it's time for a new, and yeah, so I think it's really fitting. I have 5 children. I don't know if you guys know that. The 11-year-old is being homeschooled by his father right now. And I have 2 other boys that live in the house too. So we have 3 boys, me and my husband, and my 2 other boys are in town here. So we have a lot of knowledge and help, and I'm sure all my boys will love to come to the fire and do some potlatch for everyone. And I think this is the new way. This is what, you know, since we can't be together as a tribe and a community together in person, which I think is also really important. So hopefully this will invoke a lot of people to get into a space in their community so we can have our children be around people in person, which is very, very important, which we're lacking. I'm meeting with a whole bunch of women in town. We do homeschool on Wednesdays, every Wednesdays, where we meet up at 1 o'clock and we go for a hike, or we play in the woods, and then all the mothers are coming over here at 3:30, and so we can support each other, and the kids will play some games at the table. And so that's kind of my way of getting together with a community of women, because our children are really struggling. I feel the struggle for our children right now, because yeah, it's so important to be around other children. And you know, a lot of the friends, some friends are on board with the COVID stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of division that's happening right now. So this is a perfect opportunity to, and, you know, I love the idea of the authenticity of everything, you know, almost like a reality show. And like you were saying, James, just for people to show up and put a presentation together, it's going to be so exciting. So anyone else have anything else to say? Any other questions, James? Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think the next step, like what happens next, and Melanie, feel free to stop me, but here's what I think should happen next. I think that you guys should think about it. And if it sounds like something you want to do and you want to get more specific in what you'd like to bring as Potlatch, please contact Melanie. And I'm asking you to contact Melanie because I think she's going to be the best at coordinating all of this initial feedback and who's doing what. And I think that after we look at that feedback, and when I say we, I mean, I'll throw another meeting and anyone's welcome to hear it as we kind of reflect over that and go over that. I think that after looking at that valuable feedback, that these tents will form, these committees will form. I think Seamus and I already formed a committee as we were talking, for example, which is like, how do we actually deliver this Akashic network? I think a lot of these things have already happened. And so I think by sort of giving Melanie a cue as to where you're at and what you're thinking about, I think that would be tremendously helpful. And that would be the best kind of next step thing. For those of you who are really into this, I would urge you to consider that on the new moon, what could you declare to bring? And I would commit to being there to witness that. I would love to see that. And if you want to let us know on the new moon, that's great too. I think that would be a great way for us to start. I would love to see, as Josh said, you know, even if it's just one, I hope it's more than one, because I don't want to be the only one. But I will be the only one. I will do it. Don't make me do it. I will do it. But hopefully it'll be a little bit more. And I think that would be, guys, think about this like a totem. Like, this is the wolf moon, by the way, this next moon coming up. So imagine that this is the very first start of a totem pole, and the very first head on the totem pole is this wolf moon. So it's like this wolf head. And after that, the next moon is I think it's an asparagus moon. I'm totally kidding. It's some other kind of cold, icy moon or something. But anyway, it would have its own totem, its own kind of head. So these are things that can build on top of each other. And I think there's a lot of cool magic in that. So standing on the shoulders of giants and all that. So I think that's probably the best way to, like, you know, send it off as far as homework goes. Although it's great, there's already hands up. So yeah, Lauren, if you want to field more questions, I'm here till 2.
Okay, Eric, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this idea and want to be involved any way I can. And sitting here trying to think of what kind of potlatch I could bring, I've been thinking a lot recently about this idea of augmented reality games. It's like I don't know if anyone's familiar with these, but you know, some people have done these, like artists have tried to put these elaborate things together, and it was so effective at producing really strong, authentic, synchronistic experiences for people that were involved that the CIA actually decided to do their own and, you know, use these. And I think they use a certain type of model. But I was thinking about how could I or anybody else take that idea, you know, and put something together for a group of people to have, you know, these authentic experiences that they could be actively involved in that would spur their imagination and this idea of wonder and mystery and experience synchronicity. I don't know if it would be a good tool for learning or not, but it just made me think of that. And I want to try to, you know, maybe explore that more on my own, and hopefully I can bring some more concrete ideas. But I really like where this is going and I want to be involved.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. Mike, unmute yourself, please.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey guys, nice to be here today. I've got a daughter. She's gonna be 4 at the end of February, and I mean, I've looked up homeschooling stuff, and you know, the only real argument for going to school would be the social part, right? And that's not really the case anymore. So, I mean, I've been doing what I can. She knows letters and letter sounds and some numbers. But if there was something interactive that we could do, because I am just like a single dad and I don't, I hear a lot of good ideas. I'm not a huge fan of the screen time, but if we can figure out, like, if it can be something that actually draws them in, is beneficial, then the pros kind of outweigh the cons. I'm just not really a huge fan of like setting the kid up in front of a screen all day, because you kind of see that a lot, and it's, it kind of sucks. But yeah, it's great to be here, and I look forward to the next meeting. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mike. I almost envision this as, you know, when you're talking about your 4-year-old, I used to make slime with Seth all the time. So maybe these kind of things could be like, if you're coming to my tent and I would have a supply list. And so you could, Melanie would put in the, announcement that there's these supplies that you need. And I'm going to walk you through how to make slime. And so you would have all the stuff. And so it would be very interactive. Or let's say I'm doing sauerkraut. So sauerkraut, I would say you would need a head of lettuce, or I'm sorry, cabbage, your jar, your salt. And so I would have a list that you could actually do it with me or not do it with us, right? So later on you could click in and watch it and then do it with watching me do it. Or you could participate at the same time, where if I do have a mod, that mod can ask me questions and we can be more interactive, right? So, I kind of see it like that playing out in the future. If you guys are, and yeah, so thank you, Mike. I'm glad you're excited, and I'm excited to hang out with your 4-year-old because I love children. So cool. I can't remember if I had something else to say. Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a
Okay, yeah, Danny?
So I remember James saying something about like a 4-week deprogramming. I don't know what to call it, but is there going to be like an analog kind of version? Like, is that the hope that there will be videos online, but there will also be some of this in-person interaction? Or right now, are we just focused on the video lessons? I guess I'm not fully understanding.
Yeah.
The bigger
So through the power of mentalism, we are creating this in the virtual, and we are oscillating and vibrating this thought with such precision and power that other people are collecting their witness to into it, and the land will appear as a resonance. It will just appear like frickin' Brigadoon. It will just show up. And that is when those 8-week programs, where it's physical vitriol as we build dragons throughout the day, that's when that magic starts. And I can't wait to get there. But honestly, I'm so excited about even this virtual part, because it's the one time where we can have a fire and it's not like everyone has to be there, right? This is a virtual way of doing this. And so I really think that when people have no excuse to say, well, I can't make it to the full moon fire, because you have a full moon. You have your own full moon too, and you would be the starter of that fire. And that by you building that fire, that is the communion. That is the bioregional, decentralized, sovereign way of communing with all of us together. So that's what I'm really hoping is going to happen as this progresses. And the physical programs, I can't wait for those to start. But that's going to take land, and it's really getting there. There's actually a whole element where we're doing some fundraising for the land, but we can start without that. This network can run 100% virtually for a year before we would even need land, I think, and it could still be a huge boon to the Aquarius thing. So,
well, so yeah, I just moved on to 6 acres, and that's kind of in our mind. Jordan and I that's been the plan, is to have people come to this space, whether it's for, she does her therapy or whatever, so I've worked a lot with kids, and the space is mainly for dogs, right? That's what I'm doing now as an occupation, but there's plenty of room for camping, and there's a whole full bathroom in the shop. And so like when the weather is nicer, it could be, you know, we could easily host like 20 people probably, and they could campers. And eventually, you know, we want to build more little, I don't know, tiny homes or something for people. But yeah, I love that idea of bringing people together in the real, and I have a lot of experience in doing that kind of thing, doing bonfires with storytelling and skits, and yeah, anyways, I think that's where my skill set will really be activated, is in that kind of an environment. But I also am excited to help if I can with some kind of video presentation on whatever topic. So it all sounds good.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Danny. Melanie?
Oh, sorry. Okay, I just wanted to say one thing, because someone had asked me a question. Whoever's in chat, and if you wanted to save something in chat, this is kind of,
right.
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that on the right-hand side, like as you can, you know, click on everyone or an individual, to the right, you'll see the 3 little dots. If you click down on that, it'll say save chat, and it'll automatically save to your folder. So that way you have a copy of it if you need it. Just a little housekeeping.
Thank
I was
you.
already asked that twice, so I just wanted to let you guys know. Okay. I hope that makes sense.
Awesome. Any more questions out there? I was thinking, if no one has any more questions, James, can you just give a little bit of an outline on, I just wanted to put a little bit more clarification on how this is, that we kind of see it maybe running. So maybe like you were saying when we talked yesterday about the new moon and then the full moon, and how the new moon like would be a call out for people to put their ideas out, to put the call out to, you know, want to invoke a story, right? And then how they would have to have maybe a mod in mind, or would we assign the mod? And also remember how we talked about that 1 week before the full moon, there would be no dojos that week, right? And that week would be all the presentations leading up to the full moon, and the full moon would be more or less a celebration. Like, or is there anything happening at those the full moons? Do you know what I mean? Like, can maybe outline it a little bit clearer about
So anyone that's doing a presentation, we would expect that it could be that you've never done one before, and that you need help in that, in the sense of getting it recorded, getting a moderator, and things like that. You will need a moderator, and you get to pick who you want that moderator to be. They'll introduce you at the beginning, and you know, they'll hand the floor over to you, and then you give your presentation. So you'll set up with the mod what your presentation is going to look like, how long you're willing to go, any kind of rules that you might have, or what kind of things you're going to present. We'd love to have practice sessions with you if you want to do a quick walkthrough just to make sure your stuff's working. There's a lot of things in Zoom where you can share screen or play a video, things like that. So all those technical things, I could see that we'll have sort of a potlatch tent where people are looking to each other for advice on how to give better presentations like this. But basically, as people are expressing their interest in this, I'll be personally reaching out to you, but Melanie and I have already kind of crafted sort of here's your job list, like here's the things that you'll need to make the right presentation. And I think that'll just kind of flesh itself out as we go. I had suggested doing this in the waxing of the moon as just a nice way of doing a call out for things. And it could be that maybe one of these moons, on a new moon, someone says, yeah, the cooking show that I did, I'm now going to turn it into a weekly series. And I'm committing that this moon, I'm going to do an episode every week on Monday. That allows the Akashic Network, the people that are working this network, the ability to see that programming and offer that in the right schedule, and, you know, set it up that way, promote it that way, and things like that. So I would hope that those things would build. And I would hope that those things would build because there's sort of a tribe that's forming around a central idea. Whether it be the cooking thing, the making of slime is apparently really popular already in chat. All these things would be organically growing. That making of slime could easily turn into a Monday, what are we making weird day, right? Like a weird lab experiment day that's semi kitchen wise. Sometimes it's edible, sometimes you'd be crazy to eat it, who knows? You know, I don't know, but that would be something that would organically develop as a result of that. So I think this first one, if we can pull it off in January, it would be sort of like a test, sort of an introduction to it, because I want to get the kinks out too. I want to think this through, make some mistakes on the mat, fine tune it, get feedback on it. So I would expect that this first one is going to be exactly that, the first one, the alpha release of it, and it you know, it's going to be as authentic and real as the first one is going to be. And everything else I hope is going to grow from there. So I think all these questions will answer themselves as each of us are contributing and donating the current to it.
Thank you, James. Adam, you have a question?
Just something I put in chat, but I thought it might be quite important to say because we're recording and stuff, is a book club, books that are censored from the national curriculum, or just books such as this bad boy that we could all, you know, read and learn from and utilize and then come together. And then Josh came in with a wonderful idea because he wanted to do Josh's notes, and we could break it down and meet up and talk about books that have knowledge and esoteric knowledge or whatever that, you know, obviously we never get a chance to be exposed to. It seems to have gone down well in the chat, so I just thought I would say that while it's recorded.
Yeah, I think there's so many awesome ideas, and everyone's kind of just percolating with all the things that could happen right now, which is really exciting. And okay, well, what do you think? Want to close this down and just let it sit for a bit?
Yeah, that's great. And you know, even as I love the Seamus, we can also narrate books that aren't available in audio yet. I mean, come on.
Yep.
How freaking cool would it be if each of us are agreeing just to read an audiobook that every Wednesday I'm just making this up, but every Wednesday
Yep.
at 7 p.m. is story time, and someone's going to read a story. And here's a story. In fact, it'd be hilarious because you could see like these, imagine like a book club, but for kids, you know, where it's like, well, I thought that the Plantagenet rabbit really wasn't as authentic as he could have been, and the deeper meaning of the esoteric grove. Anyway, you get it. So yeah, this is going to unfold itself. It already is. It's going to be beautiful. So thank you all for investing the calories in the witness by coming. Seriously, it means a lot. I'm glad that we had so many here for it. So those are my final words.
Yeah, anyone else have any final words?
This is going to be amazing, guys. We're going to make it amazing. Each and every one of us, right? We'll bring whatever we bring. It'll be good, it'll be bad, it'll be ugly at times, but it's going to be beautiful. Yeah,
I just got chills. I'm so excited.
I don't know about you, but it just feels right. It has to be out there and free. You know, it has to be accessible. You know, because that's a Babylonic system of, you know, this is what we're trying to get away from. It doesn't feel right if we're, at the minute anyway, if we're gonna, you know, put a price on this. I think that, yeah, I want to give. You know, I don't know about anyone else, but I just want to. And this is how we change the world. So yeah,
Perfect.
Yep. Imagine using technology for something positive, you know. that's glorious.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what
I love it.
That's what we're doing.
And
okay, everyone. I think. Pardon me.
I love that there's room for.
Oh, there you are.
All the messing up too, the ugly, messy parts, because the pressure on kids to just get it right all the time, the pressure on adults to just get it right all the time, the room for being messy and, well, it all went to hell this time, what do we learn from that? You know, I love that there's room for that too.
Yeah, that's the best part of it. Hey, Chris, that's the part I love. Whenever I do my videos, it's always a 1, 2, 3, go. I don't really plan things. I don't like polished. I like reality. I like real. I like authenticity. So I think that's what's going to come out for all of us. And I think kids learn from that, right? Yeah. Okay, you guys, we're going to close this down. at 11:44. That 4-4, that 1-1. Love all you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I guess we'll see each other in the dojo tonight. Michael, my son, is modding that tonight. So yeah, if you guys want to join that, that would be great. Thank you guys all for showing up, and the people that haven't spoke before. I'm so excited to see your face and see you show up and speak up, because I know there's a lot of people that aren't speaking up all the time, and I encourage you to do that because we all have stuff to offer here. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all. Please email Melanie Bass whenever you're ready to talk about what you think you want to bring. We look forward to hearing from you. So it's bass.melanie@gmail.com. I've got it right there in the text. Thank you, Melanie. And yeah, if everyone wants to say goodbye, Adam, can you give us a little drum roll, please, there with the goodbye?
I love you, 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 I love you.
Thank you all.